Welcome back, boxing fans. Today we have Vasily Lomachenko, also known as the Matrix or High Tech, and he isn't just your average boxer. This guy moves through the ring like he's bending reality, slipping through punches with ease, not just hunting for knockouts, but doing it with a level of skill and technical mastery that seems otherworldly. It's almost like he's predicting his opponent's every move before they even think about throwing a punch. That's why he's considered one of the best pound-for-pound fighters across any era of the sport. But without any further ado, let's take a look at what makes him and his boxing style great. Despite only having 15 professional fights to his name, Lomachenko's achievements are insane. We're talking 18 victories, 3 defeats, and world titles in 3 different weight classes: featherweight, super featherweight, and lightweight. And don't forget his amateur career, where he bagged gold medals at the 2008 and 2012 Olympics, plus world championship titles at 2009 and 2011. All those years of dominating the amateurs set him up perfectly for the pros. But it's not just about the accolades. Lomachenko's success can be credited to his unique style, shaped under the guidance of his father, who taught him how to box from a young age. At 35 years old, standing at 170 centimeters with a 166 centimeter reach, Lomachenko is still a force in the ring, and his southpaw stance makes him a tricky opponent. What's even more wild is that he's naturally right-handed, which makes his lead jab stronger and more precise than most. His high guard and unorthodox stance allows him to maintain his balance while delivering powerful punches, though he has to watch out for leg attacks and upper body fatigue from holding that guard. But with his ability to adapt in the ring, Lomachenko stays sharp and continues to evolve. One of his signature moves is his deceptive jab, which he uses to mess with his opponent's heads. He'll circle his lead hand. Figure out what's coming, Lomachenko's already stepping in, getting that perfect angle for either a powerful left hand or a sneaky attack from the side. This misdirection leaves his opponents off balance and scrambling to defend, while Lomachenko stays sharp, ready to capitalize on every opening. But even with all of this trickery, he knows he has to stay alert, not get predictable, and always keep his defense tight. That's what makes him one of the best in the game right now. Lomachenko's mastery of feints is like playing mind games in the ring, and he does it with such finesse. He'll throw in those sneaky shoulder dips or slight head shifts that mess with his opponent's timing. It's not just about throwing punches for him, it's about getting inside their heads, making them second guess every move. And here's where it gets brilliant. While they're trying to figure out if he's coming in for real or just messing with them, Lomachenko is setting traps. They get so used to seeing those fake moves that by the time he's ready to actually strike, they're too slow to react. The feints do a lot more than just confuse. They wear down his opponents mentally, forcing them to hesitate, which is exactly what Lomachenko wants. But of course, he has to walk that fine line between tricking them and being predictable. If he overdoes the feints, he risks showing his own cards. So every fake has to be perfectly timed to keep its opponents guessing while he's busy calculating their next misstep. It's boxing chess, and Lomachenko's moves always keep him a step ahead. And then there are the jabs. Soft. Almost gentle at first. But don't be fooled. These aren't thrown to land heavy damage right away. They're like little probes, testing his opponent's reactions, measuring distance, and setting the pace. He watches closely. How do they respond? Do they drop their guard? Do they flinch? And as soon as Lomachenko spots a weakness, he turns it up a notch. Out of nowhere, those light jabs morph into lightning-fast combos that completely throw off his opponent's rhythm. One moment they're cautiously guarding against soft punches, and the next, they're eating a flurry of blows from all angles. It's a sneaky tactic, but it's brilliant for conserving energy and maintaining control. Still, Lomachenko has to be careful. If his pattern of soft jabs into fast combos becomes too obvious, he could be setting himself up for a counterpunch. But that's what makes him special. The balance of patience, timing, and aggression all working together to dominate the ring. Now, let's talk about positioning and angles, which is where Lomachenko truly shines. His footwork is on another level. While most fighters move forwards or backwards, Lomachenko takes angles, stepping sideways and forward at the same time. It's like he's constantly shifting into a new dimension, creating openings where his opponent doesn't even realize they're exposed. This footwork does two things. It forces his opponents to adjust their stance, making them vulnerable to counterpunches, and it keeps them off balance. Before they can even think of landing a punch, Lomachenko has already angled out and landed his own. It's mesmerizing to watch, but it's also risky. If he gets too caught up in dancing around his opponent, there's always a chance he could leave himself open to a quick counter. But that's Lomachenko's genius. He's so well coordinated that it's hard to catch him slipping. His angle changes, when executed right, give him complete control over the fight, letting him land punches almost at will while keeping him safe from incoming attacks. Lomachenko's use of forearm control is another level of genius when it comes to dictating the pace of a fight. He's not just throwing punches, he's managing his opponent's every move, and it all starts with his lead forearm. Picture this. After throwing a jab, most fighters pull their hand back, but Lomachenko? He leaves his hand hanging out there, knowing full well his opponent is about to counter. Then, boom! He tucks his head back behind his shoulder, essentially using his forearm like a shield. It's pure defense and offense at the same time. His hand blocks the punch, and his head is already out of harm's way, all while he's prepping his next move. It's like saying, "Come at me," but he's already 2 steps ahead. Then there's the hand grab. Talk about frustrating for his opponents. Imagine going for a jab, and before you can even retract, Lomachenko's already wrapped his hand around yours and angled out of range. Not only does this leave you completely off balance, but it's also a psychological hit. Suddenly your game plan is gone and Loma's got all the control. It's not just about stopping you from throwing punches, it's about showing who's really in charge in that ring. Every time he grabs your hand, he's telling you, "I own this space." And if you try to rush in, thinking pressure will work, think again. Lomachenko's forearm comes into play once more. He doesn't just dodge or block. He puts that forearm right on the back of your neck and leans his weight in. It's exhausting. You're stuck, you can't throw, and Loma's using you as a rest stop while he decides what to do next. Not only is this physically draining, but it's also mentally demoralizing. How do you fight someone who can shut you down so completely? But as clever as these tactics are, Lomachenko has to be careful. Overextending that forearm or relying too much on these tricks could leave him open for counters. If an opponent stays cool under pressure, Loma's mind games could backfire. That's why he constantly has to adapt, always reading his opponent, always adjusting. It's a fine balance between asserting dominance and staying safe. Now let's talk about how Loma uses his guard as bait. This might be one of the boldest parts of his strategy. By intentionally dropping his guard or exposing certain areas, he tempts opponents into thinking they've found an opening. And when they take the bait, he's already ready to counter. It's a high-risk, high-reward move, but Lomachenko thrives in these situations. It's a calculated gambit, luring his opponents into a false sense of security, only to strike back when they least expect it. But like all risky strategies, it requires impeccable timing and awareness. If he miscalculates, if he leaves that opening for too long or misjudges distance, it could lead to a heavy hit like what happened against Jorge Linares when he suffered his first professional knockdown. It was a flash knockdown. But that's Lomachenko for you, always pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the ring. Lomachenko once described his fighting style like a shark eating away at his opponents slowly by the rounds. It's no wonder he's made some opponents quit in the corner. He stated, "I want to be known to fans and appreciated as a boxer painter. I try to do everything, an art form inside the ring." In regards to his speed, footwork, punching power, jabs, slips, feints, angles, body shots, power shots, head movement, you name it. He is one of the few fighters who tries to implement everything into his boxing style. A boxing prodigy. His style is so unique it mesmerizes fans and fellow boxers alike. A once-in-a-generation fighter. As always, if you liked the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, fight fans.